Start. Very good morning to everybody. Today we are here to discuss a huge crisis which is right now the country is undergoing. The passengers who have been stranded in these airports. So actually Modi ji promised us ease of air travel through Udan. But what he gave was a complete cease of air travel. The last 4-5 days has been the worst aviation meltdown this country has ever seen. Around, I think yesterday, around 1,000 flights were cancelled all over the country. As we are talking right now, more than 600 flights have been cancelled today also. And as news reports are coming, it is going to continue for next 2-3 days. In fact, Delhi, in the last, to just give some numbers, there are thousands of passengers across Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai, Bengaluru, Hyderabad, Lucknow, Ahmedabad, Bhopal, Indore, Kolkata. People stranded in airports, very, very troublesome visuals, hundreds and thousands of them sleeping on the floor, children sleeping on the floor, old having no attention, no food, no water, no supply of anything, more than 12 hours spending in airports. This is something which has been, unprecedented, and this country has never seen such visuals. Even in the parliament yesterday, the parliamentarians were stranded. People could not visit their constituencies. Like there is a cyclone going on in Tamil Nadu, and many of the parliamentarians could not travel. It's not only about the parliamentarians, it is, people missing loved ones, passing away, people missing exams, people missing many more things, which is a complete failure, I should say. I wouldn't go into the entire details of every airport and how many flights they've crossed. Everybody has seen, and it's still continuing. Now the problem, I just wanted to highlight, and our party also wanted to highlight, is what is the reason for this crisis? Is this crisis because of something which was unprecedented? Absolutely no. This thing has been luring for the last 1.5 years, and the flight duty time limitation restrictions which were brought in by DGCA was first notified in January 2024 or March 2024. Now after that, there has been so much of time for all the airlines to adopt to these guidelines. We think these guidelines are important, but the DGCA, which was responsible for making these guidelines strong and the airlines adapt these guidelines, in the last 2 years, I really want to ask a question to them: what were they doing? It is your own guidelines, and you know that a particular airline, which is a duopoly player inside this country, and we'll come to that subject second, but what was DGCA doing all this time, and what was the ministry doing in all this time, knowing very well this crisis was going to come? It's not that they were not aware. And to put the entire country in such trouble and promising, whatever is like really troublesome. For us, it is really troublesome, and we really also, what was most embarrassing was there was complete apathy from the airlines, complete apathy from the ministry. Nobody is worrying about what is happening. People are waiting for their baggage. They are ready to go out of the airport. People are waiting for their baggage for 24 hours inside the airport. What is stopping this government from even extending that simple help to a stranded passenger, knowing very well the crisis is on? Every one of us in our family had somebody stranded in the airport. That was the situation in the last 2 days. All important work was spoiled. And this is also when dignitary, the president of Russia, is visiting this country. And one side you are showing Viksit Bharat. And this is really, the other side of the Bharat is what is happening right now in these airports. So I really want to first make this point. This is a complete breakdown of the regulatory mechanism and complete irresponsibility by the government and DGCA to implement its own norms. So the crisis is not a natural breakdown, it is a fallout of the government, and the major reason which we have to understand is also how did this airline become the monopoly player in this system. They are around 60 to 65, they control around 60 to 65% of the market. Now, we have been always saying, the Congress party has always been saying, the idea of the current government to push for monopolies, to support monopolies or duopoly players is a disaster in waiting for this country. Because India is not a country which can bear these monopoly meltdowns or crisis or whatever you call. And we have been completely pointing out at this industry especially that even it's not only in this airline, even in the airports, there is a monopoly being created for Adani. Now, the country is yet to see all a meltdown on those areas. So, the party also wants to highlight this continuous trend from this government to break market freedom and market equity, and to push for some monopoly players just because they have been friends with them in some way or the other. Now, for example, if you take this group, especially Indigo, and there has been very clear reports, we have seen when the electoral bonds issue came, and when there was a disclosure on what electoral bonds were bought by who, there was an interglobe group which bought around 36 crore electoral bonds. And from this interglobe group, the promoter of Indigo, Mr. Rahul Gandhi, has bought around 20 crore of electoral bonds. And this 20 crore of electoral bonds, who encashed is a very clear, I don't have to say much about it. So how do you allow these monopoly players grow in this country in different sectors, especially crucial sectors? So this is one of the main reasons that we find this crisis has happened, and also the DGCA's irresponsibility of not pushing for proper implementation of their own norms in spite of the time that they had, in spite of all the resources they had at their wherewithal. Even if you leave all that, and if you just see what has happened in the last 3 days, when there is a crisis which has come down, the government has completely left the passengers and the people to their own. I don't see any initiative from the government except posturing, press conference-led developments, and nothing else. Not even during such situations. So we once again want to ask these clear questions. And what is the response of the government for this? Is to give again a waiver to Indigo that you relax the norms, you need not include these norms for a few days or whatever the time it is. And these norms are absolutely essential for pilot safety and the airline safety and the passenger safety. Now, during this meltdown, is this your only response? You just relax these norms again? And then bring back the passengers to, again, situations of no safety. Now these pilots are going to fly without sleeping, taking proper rest. So where is this government heading and what is their policy direction? At the same time, you have also been seeing, one more area the government could easily respond is the area where, of course, this Indigo has now come to a standstill, right? People are trying for alternative methods, going for airlines, other airlines, and you see the prices of the other airlines. The other airlines prices is going up to ₹1,00,000 for a domestic travel. At least the government could intervene there and say at least for the 2-3 days, whatever pricing mechanism they have, you can put a cap. What is stopping the government? So which means the government is absolutely not bothered whether the passengers are, this issue is created by them, this issue is created by their policies, and the issue is created by their own irresponsibility. And when people are going through a crisis, there is complete no response from the government. So this is a complete government failure, allowing a player to become a monopoly in this domain and giving all the support to that monopoly player for whatever reasons the government themselves know, and then not implementing their policy, not planning for these things, allowing them to operate until a crisis happens, and when the meltdown happens, completely wash your hands off the entire people's issues. So we are putting today a set of direct questions to the government. The first question to the government is, why has the BJP government in the last 11 years allowed aviation to shrink to a monopoly and a duopoly instead of building a competitive, diverse sector? Today also we saw other airlines could manage things. They had implemented the same FDTL rules, but they had managed it. If there was fair competition in the market, there will be players who will take up the space. And this is the first question, that why did you allow this monopoly, duopoly to develop in this sector? Second question is, why did the DGCA fail to ensure Indigo complied with this FDTL rules, which was released in 2024 and partially implemented from July 2025 and fully on November 2025? Did the government ever issue any warning or compliance notice to Indigo, or was the airline protected from this enforcement altogether? This is something the government should answer. By this time, they would have come out with their notices and what they did to make Indigo comply. I don't think there is anything in place, and that is the reason why the government is not even responding. Third question. Given these electoral bond disclosures that we saw massive purchases by Interglobe group entities and its promoter, is the BJP's financial proximity to Indigo the real reason behind this extraordinary leniency shown at the cost of passenger safety? We have been always saying this electoral bonds is a very, very, very dangerous thing. It will allow corporates to run their show, and this is one example how this has happened. The fourth question that we want to ask is, will the Union Aviation Minister, Mr. Ram Mohan Naidu, take responsibility for this unprecedented crisis? Will he even apologize for the people of this country for not performing or not making the airline comply, or continue hiding behind generic, meaningless statements while passenger remains stranded in these airports? So these are the four questions that the Congress party wants to ask very clearly to the sector. And these electoral bond disclosures are there for anybody to see, and we really hope that such issues don't happen in the future. And this is a warning. This is just a warning in one sector. This is going to happen in every other sector if these monopolies continue to grow, and if the government and corporate nexus is going to continue in this country, and if opposition voices are stifled in many ways, and you just run the roost without any question being asked to you, this is also a indicator of what the country will face in the coming days to come. So I'll just end my statement with this, and if there's any questions, we'll answer. हिंदी में एक स्टेटमेंट दे देंगे आपको, तो आप पढ़िए। और सेंट इट ऑलरेडी। तो संक्षिप्त में ये बात है कि ये पूरा क्राइसिस सरकार का बना हुआ है, ये सिर्फ इंडिको का मामला नहीं है। जो रूल्स पिछले 2024 से नोटिफाई किया गया है, उसके इम्प्लीमेंटेशन के लिए इतना टाइम था, इतने टाइम होने के बाद भी इस सरकार ने इसके ऊपर कुछ ध्यान नहीं दिया। और मैं बोलूंगा ध्यान दिया, उनको भी पता था ये होने वाला है, मगर इंडिगो को उन्होंने टाइम देते गया जब तक ये मेल्टडाउन हुआ। और इस मेल्टडाउन में इतना जनता की हालत ऐसे हुआ, जो विजुअल्स है, लोग एयरपोर्ट में स्ट्रैंडेड है 20-20 घंटे, बच्चे पड़े हुए हैं ग्राउंड पे, लोग अपने बैगेज के लिए ढूंढ रहे हैं 24 आवर्स, कोई भी पानी पिलाने वाला भी कोई नहीं है, कोई कुछ खाना खिलाना वाले भी कोई नहीं है। माने सरकार तो कंप्लीटली छोड़ दिया। अच्छा, एक मेल्टडाउन हो गया, बट सरकार को तो वहां रहना था ना। हाँ, जो इंपॉर्टेंट चीज के लिए, जो इलाज के लिए, किसी का मौत के लिए लोग जा रहे हैं कहीं और, तो उस समय उनको अल्टरनेटिव देने के लिए भी अभी सरकार ने कुछ नहीं किया। अभी अल्टरनेटिव प्राइसेस देखेंगे तो 1 लाख के ऊपर चल रहा है टिकट्स। तो उसमें काबू लगाने का सरकार का क्या प्रॉब्लम था? ये उनका क्रिएटेड इश्यू है, तो जनता सफर कर रही है। तो इस समय सरकार वहां पे कहां है, ये हमारा प्रश्न है। और ये जो इंडिगो का जो ग्रोथ है, इसमें इलेक्टोरल बॉन्ड और उसका प्रमोटर का इलेक्टोरल बॉन्ड और बीजेपी का जो इलेक्टोरल बॉन्ड उसका लिए थे, उसका क्या कुछ संबंध है? हमने 4 प्रश्न पूछे हैं इसी के बारे में। इसका प्रेस नोट आपने दिया है। इसको इंडिगो को कैसे उन्होंने मोनोपोली बनाया और क्या सरकार रेस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी लेगा, क्या मंत्री रेस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी लेंगे इस मेल्टडाउन के लिए? और अभी 3 दिन और बाकी है जो हमारा न्यूज आ रहा है। इस 3 दिन में क्या करने वाला है? क्या एक व्हाइट पेपर निकालेंगे? इंडिगो को कितना नोटिस दिया ये लोग ने? तो ये मोनोपोली जो सिस्टम है, बिजनेस सिस्टम है जो ये चला रहे हैं, ये सिर्फ एविएशन में अभी जो हुआ है एक सैंपल है। बाकी सब एरिया में भी ये होने वाला है। पूरा एयरपोर्ट अभी अदानी को दे दिया, पूरा सी पोर्ट्स अभी अदानी को दे रहे हैं। सारे इंडस्ट्री, सारे पीएसयू को खत्म करके इन्होंने पूरा जो कॉर्पोरेट लेके आए, अभी इसका नतीजा पहला एक सैंपल ट्रेलर के जैसा अभी देश देख रहा है। तो हमारी कांग्रेस पार्टी का आग्रह ये है कि द गवर्नमेंट कम्स आउट विथ अ प्रॉपर व्हाइट पेपर ऑन व्हाट इट डिड टू प्रिवेंट, and if not, apologize to the country and allow opposition's questions and also a democracy to run in a proper way and to maintain competition in the market so that there is a competitive control on each other. Dhanyawad. Thank you.
Today's situation is very same across several of the airports, as we have seen that how several of the passengers are still stranded on many of the airports across the country. And yesterday also DGCA formed a 4-member committee to look at the situation, and the government even said that they are going to send DGCA personnel at each and every counters of the Indigo so that they can look at the way in which they are dealing with it now.
Sir, I'm like surprised. This committee making has become a habit. It is what is the crisis, everybody knows, and why it happened, everybody knows. Now our point is like, okay, you do your investigation a little bit later. Why are you not coming to for the rescue of the people who are stranded? What stops you from putting a cap on pricing? What stops you from providing amenities to the people who are stranded? What stops you from putting Indigo to take responsibility? People have just abandoned the airports and the counters. You see sick people, old people sleeping on the ground for 12 hours, 15 hours. So this only shows the attitude of the government towards the people of this country. And this attitude is reflected in this whole crisis. Now Indigo, for the last 2 years, how was it allowed to operate when you have notified your rules? So now you put 4-member committee. What is it going to give? And nobody is going to bother about what the committee's findings are. This is not an air crash where you have to find out what happened. This is a complete eyewash. I even now urge the minister and the government to take responsibility for this. At least do that. कुछ responsibility तो लो as a government.
आपको लगता है कि यात्रियों को जो परेशानी हुई या परेशानी हो रही है, उसके बाद अचानक इंडिगो की तरफ से ये क्राइसिस नहीं हुआ? पायलट की कमी एक वजह बताई जा रही है, तो आप मांग करते हैं कि व्हाइट पेपर लाके सारी स्थिति साफ की जाए?
एब्सोल्यूट मांग करते हैं सर। 2 साल से इंडिगो को पता है 60% ऑफ मार्केट वो कंट्रोल कर रहा है। अगर ये नॉर्म्स को इंप्लीमेंट करना है, उसको एडिशनल रिक्रूटमेंट करना है, ये तो बच्चा भी बोल सकता है इसका। माने इसके लिए कुछ 4-member कमिटी चाहिए क्या? और डीजीसीए जो देख रहा है ये सब, वो क्या कर रहा था? सो रहा था। ये हमारा प्रश्न है और हम मांग करते हैं कि आप एक व्हाइट पेपर लेके आइए। आप कितने बार इंडिगो को बोले और कितने बार साफ आप उनको वार्निंग दिए कि ये मेल्टडाउन ना हो?
सेंथिल साहब, आपको लगता है कि टाटा और इंडिगो को मिला के 92% एविएशन सेक्टर में इन लोगों की मोनोपोली या डुओपोली है? क्या पिछले कुछ सालों में सरकार ने खासतौर से मोदी सरकार ने पिछले 11 सालों में एविएशन सेक्टर को में लेवल प्लेइंग फील्ड को खत्म कर दिया और जिसकी वजह से सिर्फ एक या दो प्लेयर ने लगभग पूरे मार्केट को कैप्चर कर रखा है और आज जो संकट की स्थिति आई है उसमें इसका बहुत बड़ा रोल है।
100% हमारा आरोप बहुत क्लियर है और हम ये भी बोल रहे हैं एक सैंपल एक सेक्टर का है, ये हर सेक्टर में अभी हो रहा है। और जब भी ये सरकार आके बोलती है हम इतना जीडीपी किए, इतना इकोनॉमिक डेवलपमेंट किए, ये सारे का नहीं है, ये फेयर कंपटीशन नहीं है, ये किसी एक दो व्यक्ति का पूंजीपति का हो रहा है, बाकी सबका पूरा अभी सत्यानाश हो रहा है। ये एक एग्जाम्पल है, एक सैंपल है इस देश में। जब मेल्टडाउन आएगा ये देश सह नहीं पाएगा, इसका एक सैंपल है।
सर, आपने अदर सेक्टर में भी सवाल उठाया कि आने वाले अदर सेक्टर्स में भी बुरा हाल होगा, आपको ऐसा क्यों लगता है?
सर, अभी आप किसी भी सेक्टर देख लीजिए सर, पावर देख लीजिए, इलेक्ट्रिक व्हीकल्स का जो पावर, बैटरीज, फिर आप यही चीज में एयरपोर्ट्स को देख लीजिए और ऑयल एंड गैस देख लीजिए, सब सेक्टर में मोनोपोलाइजेशन या डुओपोली या ओलिगार्की टाइप्स हो रहा है। फेयर मार्केट खत्म हो रहा है। छोटे जो व्यापारी है, हमारी नेता राहुल गांधी जी हर वक्त बोल रहे हैं इस देश का जो बैकबोन है वो छोटे व्यापारी है, वो एमएसएमई है। और अगर वो एमएसएमई को कंप्लीट खत्म करके आप कॉर्पोरेट को बढ़ा रहे हैं और उसके अंदर भी एक या दो, और वो भी चुने हुए लोग, हमें पता है क्या कौन है, तो ये कंप्लीट एक एग्जाम्पल है ये मोनोपोली एक एरिया में आने में क्या क्या हो सकता है।
Sir, as you come from Tamil Nadu, we have seen that how just 2 days back you're in charge for Tamil Nadu and Tamil Nadu Congress chief, they had met CM MK.
No, but I will avoid that right now. See, that this press meet is not on that. I can meet you outside. But the point is, this is a crisis right now which has still not been answered by the government. We urge through this press meet that the government gives answers to this nation on this crisis.
सर, मेरा सवाल इससे डिफरेंट है। कल जो राष्ट्रपति भवन में पुतिन के लिए ऑर्गेनाइज किया गया था, आपकी पार्टी के मेंबर ऑफ पार्लियामेंट हैं शशि थरूर, उनको इनवाइट किया गया था, लेकिन लीडर ऑफ ऑपोजिशन को यानी कि खड़गे जी और राहुल जी को इनवाइट नहीं किया गया था। उनका एक बयान आया है, उसमें उन्होंने बोला है कि मेरा फर्ज है कि मैं जाऊंगा, बाकी लोगों को इनवाइट नहीं किया गया, उसको लेकर नहीं पता। तो नहीं, एक सेकेंड, क्योंकि आप भी मेंबर ऑफ पार्लियामेंट है इसलिए पूछ रही हूँ, क्या थरूर और कांग्रेस के बीच में बहुत ज्यादा डिस्टेंस बढ़ गया है कि आपके ही सांसद इस तरह का बयान दे रहे हैं और आपकी पार्टी के नेता नहीं जा रहे लेकिन वो शामिल हो रहे हैं इस तरह की चीजों पे? क्या आपका उसमें स्टेटमेंट है?
नहीं, एज एन एमपी आई हैव नो स्टेटमेंट ऑन ऑल दिस। ये हमारा पार्टी लीडरशिप का है, आई एम नॉट ऑथराइज्ड टू आंसर ऑन ऑल दिस।
Sir, the government has just said that Civil Aviation Ministry that it is going to take action on Indigo operational crisis and airfare regulations. So what you have to say?
When will you do it? After the crisis is over?
Announce.
That's what, this crisis has been happening for the last 4 days.